All right, this is a net worth update video for January 3rd, 2026. This will cover the last month of December, and what I try to do here is just give quick high level updates on my progress to grow my net worth and just the strategy I'm using. You notice I have some tabs in the upper left corner for my Netflix and NFL. But let's go ahead and dive in real quick and let's start with assets. Okay, so on the assets front, for last year, I started investing in BTSAX around July. So, for that time period, right, I've only captured really like that last half of 2025 for returns. And I'm coming in at roughly 6.8% off of this, 5.8K. So obviously the majority of this right now is still mostly just from deposits I put in, and the interest is slowly building up over time. And so I should say the returns are slowly building up over time. And so that's where we are currently. The emergency fund, what I have here next, this is more so my priority right now because I'm working on getting my floor up underneath me. And what's very important for me is just making sure that's at a number that I just feel confident at for where I'm at right now. Normally they say, right, to keep it to like 3 to 6 months, but I'm just really pushing to get to a year, just a personal goal of mine. And so right now we're at 18,128 out of a 36K goal. And then finally, I recently invested in 1 ounce of silver. I bought it at like $58 or so. This was pre, the big boom that's happened in late 2025. And so right now that's worth about $73. And so currently we're at roughly 24,033. And in terms of liabilities, I don't really have any major debts as of this time. So I'm really putting anything there. And yes, that's everything for the asset side of things. And so, yeah, we're getting close to that 25% mark from 100K, and we just keep climbing from there. So some of the biggest actions I've been taking this month specifically, as I mentioned, recently invested in a ounce of silver, which at this rate looks like it has a lot more room to run in terms of value. And so I may get more down the line. And I'm staying in tune with ongoing just AI developments because right now inside of my BTSEX portfolio, it's very heavily weighted towards the Max 7, which is fine, right? But with all these investments into AI, all the debt being taken out towards investing in AI, it's getting to the point for me where it would be nice to start to see like some type of returns coming in from this. But again, with these tech companies, right, they already have like such good margins as it is. And so, they just have the free cash flow to play with. So I guess, there's not that much pressure, right, to produce profitability yet. But I think 2026 will start to change that narrative a bit in terms of, more investors asking to see the money before they just keep, shelling in even more cash towards these AI developments. But we'll see. Next, geopolitical tensions. I think this is an ongoing one. And it's always tricky, right? Because, like I would say for 2025, clearly this was one of those years that was just dubbed like the big AI race, right? Like all these trade tensions happening with China, chips being banned, chips being allowed, chips being banned, chips being allowed, some chips being banned, some chips being allowed, right? Nvidia being thrown into the fray. You have tariffs, which have clearly disrupted a lot of economies, including ours. And then now, as of today, January 3rd, right, the United States also invaded Venezuela, right? And so Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the entire world. And so, right, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that because as of today, China also recently visited Venezuela's government, Maduro, I believe is his name, a few hours prior to the invasion. And so, there's just a lot of stuff here, right? And so, like, you're not really clear on where these cards are going to fall when it comes to all of this stuff. But it is something I'm keeping an eye on because, that may potentially tell me that, picking up some defensive plays might not be a bad idea. And speaking of, something else I should have put in here too is just the developments in the labor market and affordability as well. You know, from all the reports I've been seeing, right? Like they're showing that, you know, inflation is supposedly coming down in certain areas, but it more so just seems to be fairly stubborn, right? And obviously we've lost a lot of data with the shutdowns going on, and so it remains to be seen just how much progress we've made there. And on the flip side of that too, right? Customers are still clearly feeling the bite, and so I think this year will really tell us a lot in terms of how buying behaviors start to change. You know, in light of persistently stubborn inflation, and you know, you just also have other things as well, right? Like the mortgage rates will probably stay elevated. Um, you know, bond yields for the U.S. will probably stay elevated. Um, yeah, a lot of interesting things I think to keep tabs on this year. And then one of the biggest ones is just I finally decided to start automating my investing. You know, I've been keeping my numbers fairly hands on, and I still do. But I think I've just got to the point now where I could set this up and more so just let it run and be okay with just how it's running and just making sure that I check up on it. Right. And it's definitely saved me some time, you know, when it comes to, you know, budgeting and savings and all that stuff. But yeah, so that's basically where we are for the month. So, you know, right under like 25K. And really, I'm doing nothing fancy here. I haven't started up any kind of businesses or anything like that. You know, a lot of those things are still in development for me. Main things I'm doing right now are just working, saving, and then just, you know, going one step at a time. So, all right, that's it for this video. And I will update a new one in a month. Peace.